Welcome to this week's vlog. Last week I was talking about working with the environmental NGOs to secure the investment that we need, the agricultural or environmental budget that underpin environmental delivery and also build stability within our businesses. This week we've been working with Labour peer Lord Rooker to highlight the importance of biosecurity. We take biosecurity for granted at our peril. We all know what's happening over in Europe with foot and mouth and African swine fever, and we cannot risk illegal meat imports that could bring those diseases into this country. We know that at the moment there are vast quantities of meat coming in through our borders without being seized, and that poses a very real risk. It also poses a risk to the reputation of our food industry, because if that meat creates a food scare, it'll be the whole industry which suffers. During that biosecurity discussion with the press, Lord Rooker also raised the issue of chlorinated chicken or antimicrobial wash chicken from the US. The statistics he used were that 4% of US poultry on the retail shelf is still contaminated with salmonella, even after going through that antimicrobial wash process. Now, clearly, trade this week has been a huge part of the conversation. With everything going on with the tariffs being imposed by the US president, the UK obviously having that 10% tariff imposed, which is lower than many other parts of the world. What none of us know is what disruption this is going to cause to global trade, and whether we end up with dumping of product that was destined for the US, but is now going to be faced with very high tariff rates from tomorrow and may no longer end up going to the US and ends up looking for another home around the world. But on the back of that, the UK government are desperate to do a US trade deal. Now, at the moment, they have absolutely reaffirmed their position that they will not be breaching our animal health and welfare standards, and they will not be bringing in hormone-treated beef. They will not be bringing in chlorinated chicken. But obviously, the deal is not yet done. So we continue those conversations. I had a conversation with Steve Reed late on Tuesday to discuss the latest, or Wednesday, sorry, to discuss the latest. Director General Terry Jones was in discussions with Jonathan Reynolds. Our trade team were working late into the night to look at the tariff situation and how that was going to impact. And so this is a very live conversation. Really important conversations are taking place within government that we are absolutely at the heart of, to understand the implications of the tariffs, but also to make sure that they do uphold our high animal health and welfare standards. I also had a day down in Devon and Dorset. In Devon, we were looking at TB. In Dorset, it was great to see over 70 members at the open meeting yesterday. Really enjoyed it being there, and great to have that conversation with you. I'm now going to hand over to Kit Papworth, who is our new NFU Sugar Board Chair.
Hi, I'm Kit Papworth. I'm a family farmer from North East Norfolk and a contractor, and I've recently been elected Chair of the NFU Sugar Board. I'll be working alongside my Vice Chair, Simon Smith, the Sugar Board and our team of permanent and seasonal staff to represent the interests of the sugar beet growers in everything from our annual contract negotiations to political advocacy and our relationship with international growers. I'll also be a director of the British Beet Research Organisation, which is undertaking vital research on sustainability and the threats of novel pests and diseases, whilst delivering ongoing work in variety testing and tackling the constant threat of virus yellows. I'll be attending lots of grower meetings over the coming months, including cereals, and I look forward to meeting many of you to discuss sugar beet and the issues in the wider industry.
We all recognise that we've got plenty of challenges with government around the inheritance tax issues, the abrupt ending of the SFI, which has left so many of you unable to access that scheme. But last week, Rachel was talking about water with Minister Emma Hardy. On Thursday, David was down in Dartmoor speaking to Dartmoor farmers about the Dartmoor Review, but also the wider issues, and the Minister Daniel Zeichner was there. I met Daniel on Monday to talk about TB. Steve Reed on Tuesday to talk about trade, and our trade team and Terry have been heavily involved with ministerial conversations all week. That access to government is absolutely essential, and it's what your NFU is doing day in, day out, however big the challenges are that we face with the government. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to speaking to you next week.